X.
The best of the Morning X.
99X.
Quentin Tarantino is on the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm having a great time this day.
This promo tour has got to be like totally insane because I know that even our time was like canceled and rescheduled a bunch of times. So it sounds like they got you running backwards and forwards.
Well, you know, they have, but you know, it's also one of it's a little hard work, but at the same time, you know, it's also exciting because you know you make your movie and stuff, and now you get a chance to talk about it, and it's really kind of exciting. But what was really great is this last weekend I didn't do any work at all. I just went out and saw the movie playing at the theaters, and I've spent a year and a half writing it, a year making it, and it's like the whole big payoff was this last weekend, actually being able to watch it with audiences and stuff. And oh man, I just had such a great time this last week.
And you kind of seem like the kind of guy who wouldn't just duck out of the theater after the movie, but you might actually stick around and talk to people and ask what they liked or didn't like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to hide. I'm not trying to duck. All right, yeah. So yeah, it's like I usually hang out in the lobby, and people come out and like, hey, how you doing, Quentin? Hey, and it's really kind of cool because it's the way my celebrity works is really kind of neat because if people like me, they like me like I would be a friend of theirs.
Right.
And like no one calls me Mr. Tarantino. Or it was like, hey, Quentin, good job, Quentin. Hey, thanks, Quentin, that was great.
That's cool.
There was a huge buzz about Kill Bill before it ever came out. Were you nervous about reviews, or do you even care about those?
Oh, no, I read all the reviews. I'm not nervous about it. You know, I mean, people are either going to like it or they're not. But, you know, I consider myself the biggest critic. So if I like the movie, I know whether or not I've done it as far as I'm on my terms. So if I'm happy with it, then great. I mean, the reviews could all be great, but if I didn't do what I wanted to do on my terms, then it wouldn't mean anything. Well,
have you made any movies that you just thought sucked that ended up being big hits?
Well, no, I've only done 4. So
of the 4
Four Rooms was kind of hit and miss.
Well, it was hit and miss, but also because there were 4 directors, and it was really 4 movies in one. You can't really...
Right. I mean, but, you know, it's one of those weird things where it's just like, I mean, I don't think 4 Rooms, you know, my segment, to me the segment that's great in 4 Rooms is Robert Rodriguez's segment.
That was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mine's okay, all right? I don't think it's great. It's okay. But the thing is, you know, at the same time, I say that, but I've had people come up to me, you know, for years and just like, hey, man, I really love 4 Rooms. That was so funny. So it really is, you know, it's all in the eyes of the beholder.
Quentin, for your fans, why have you only done 4 movies?
Well, you know, it's funny because one of the things is, see, I want to make movies. I want to make movies for like my whole career, and I want them all to be good. And I think if you look at most directors' careers, I didn't mean to not make a movie in 6 years. That just kind of happened.
Sure.
All right, but it wasn't a plan. But the thing is, if you look at most directors' careers, you have like these 10 great years or these 20 great years, and then you have these next 20 years that there's a whole lot of apologizing going on. And I never want that to happen. When I'm making a movie, I don't want it to be a job. I don't want it to be doing it for any of the wrong reasons. I don't want to make a movie to pay for my pool. I don't want to make a movie for jockeying for position in Hollywood. I want it to be, you know, my first movie, Reservoir Dogs, I would have died for that movie. I would have died for Pulp Fiction. I mean, it was everything I was about. If I can't make every movie that way, then I'd rather watch movies.
Let me ask you about Kill Bill, because, you know, one of the things about Kill Bill, it's a movie about revenge, basically. Yeah. And I don't think there is a human emotion that is better to base an entire movie around than revenge. I mean, some of the best movies of all time, when you boil them all down, are about revenge. I think about Sam Peckinpah and Straw Dogs, you know, movies like that.
Totally. And, you know, and like also revenge movies are their own subgenre, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
really.
And Straw Dogs being one of the key ones of that.
What are some of the other revenge movies that you love?
Well, I'll tell you my 2 favorite revenge. Well, I'll tell you my 3 favorite revenge movies. All right, my favorite one, for sure, hands down, is a movie called Rolling Thunder with William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones. It was written by Paul Schrader, the guy who wrote A Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
And that is a fantastic movie.
Okay.
Just great. It's about a POW it was in the Viet Cong POW camp for 7 years, and when he's released, these scumbags in Texas kill his wife and kid, and so he tracks them all down to kill him. And
I saw this movie. This was great.
This movie kicks butt.
Yes.
All right. Another great revenge movie would be the Pam Grier movie Coffee.
Right.
Fantastic. My favorite blaxploitation movie. My favorite female revenge movie. And then my third favorite revenge movie would probably be it's one of the roughest movies movies I've ever seen, if not maybe the roughest movie, and actually still be a movie.
Right.
Is the Swedish movie. It's another female revenge movie. It's called the Swedish title was called Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Thriller, and then the subtitle is A Cruel Picture. All right, but in America, they cut out some of the violence and released it in drive-ins in the 70s, and the movie was called They Call Her One Eye. And it's all about a woman who's like shanghaied into prostitution. She tries to leave. They poke out her eye. They hook her on drugs, and make her a prostitute. And so what happens is, there's nothing she can do about that now. But she's a junkie, so they let her go to do her life as she's a prostitute. But meanwhile, she takes all the money she makes and learns to shoot, learns to do hand-to-hand combat, learns to do defensive driving, and then after a year of learning all this, she kills all the people that she works for. And
Fantastic.
It's a lot of fun, but man, it is a brutal movie.
Uh-huh.
We're talking to Quentin Tarantino. You have a way of resurrecting certain actors' careers. Did you handpick all the people in Kill Bill?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think that's if there's a talent that I have, I think one of my talents is casting. I think I'm a really good. I match good actors up with the right roles.
Definitely, because we love Uma Thurman.
Isn't she terrific in the film?
She's phenomenal, and I guess that she trained for a long time for this.
Oh man, yeah, and also she had just had a baby too. So it was like after like about 8 weeks of coming down from having her second kid, she went right into training, and she trained literally 8 hours a day for 3 months.
Are you good with criticism? I read in this week's Time magazine you are doing an interview with David Ansen, and he actually tells you face to face in this interview what he doesn't like about your movie.
Right.
Is that comfortable for you?
Well, it was an interesting thing because I've always respected David Ansen as a film critic, quite a bit actually, and we know each other a little bit. And Newsweek wanted to do this whole thing where they wanted to have him like review and also interview the director at the same time.
Newsweek,
and
right?
He was interested in doing it, but he said, finding the right director to do it with and finding the right movie to do it with was going to be really hard. And but he trusted me because he knows I'm a big film fan, and he knows that if I wasn't a filmmaker, I'd probably be a film critic.
Yeah.
So it's like I can talk to him, and he liked the movie well enough. So it's like not like he's going to say anything that's going to completely offend me.
Congratulations on having the #1 movie in the country. Tell us about Part 2.
One of the things about Part 2 is actually quite different from Part 1. The two movies have two different tones. If you saw the film, or you're going to see it, Part 1 has a very straight ahead. Uma Thurman's character, the bride who's after revenge, she goes straight ahead like a shark, through the whole movie. Mm-hmm. Part 2, as she works her way down to the last 3 names on her death list, things get much more complicated. It's not quite the slice and dice that the first one is. More humanity comes into play, and all of a sudden, it's not quite the same mission that she was on. I mean, she still wants revenge, but real life tends to intrude in the whole process.
Quentin Tarantino.
Thanks, Quentin.
On The Morning X.
You're listening to the best of The Morning X. You can also catch it on the Morning X podcast,
wherever you get your podcasts,
or at 99x.com.